Hi everyone, Kathy Heckendorn with Cape, New Mexico, and I'm here to continue with our video series on getting started. And now we're going to talk about a topic that goes along with curriculum, and it's going to be assessment. So if you're going to ask your child to do a particular assignment, then we got to assess them, make sure that they're learning something. So we're going to look at some different things having to do with assessment. All right, one of the things that I think is a beginning point is always start with the end in mind. If you are going to homeschool for a short term, your assessment might look totally different, and here's my reasoning for saying that. Suppose you're just planning on homeschooling this year, and as soon as public schools do open up again, maybe in the spring or next fall, you're going to plan on going back to public school. Then I would highly recommend that you do assessment in the same way that your child has already been assessed in the public school. Maybe that's with multiple choice tests, essay tests, short answers, that type of thing. Try to keep the assessment the same as what they were already doing. That way it's easy for them to jump back in again if that's what you end up doing. So that's what I mean by how long will you be homeschooling? Maybe you're going to be homeschooling long term. And do you know for sure that your child is going to be headed to college? Well, then try to continue developing their ability to be assessed the same way that they will continue to be assessed in the college setting. Maybe they're entrepreneurial minded. Well, you might want to do a different type of assessment for them because they need to develop some different types of skills, some different critical thinking in the aspects of problem solving. If you're going to own your own business, you've got to constantly be thinking of problem solving and how can you make things work. So we want to get them thinking. It's not just necessarily regurgitate the same information, which multiple choice and short answers would end up doing, but you want to start developing that mindset, that critical thinking, problem solving type mindset. Trade school. Trade school is going to require a lot of hands-on type assessment. If you're going to be learning how to do welding or maybe electrical work, well, the end result is, does the light switch work? Can you actually do this through to the outcome that you want? So kind of be thinking of that when you're looking at assessment. So the different assessment styles, you have testing. You got multiple choice, fill in the blank, short answer, essay. Probably a lot of us are familiar with that. Then you have the Socratic method. That's where a question is asked, you discuss, maybe a counter question is asked. There's a little bit of debating. And that actually requires a different level of understanding. You're not just regurgitating information. For example, if you're doing a multiple choice, maybe you're doing a history test, or maybe it's just do literature. You're taking a test on Anna Green Gables. Pick a book, any book. And maybe a multiple choice would be Anne moves in with Marilla and Matthew because she's A, an orphan, B, a friend of the family, C, their niece, D, none of the above. So that would be just a simple multiple choice. A Socratic would be, what do you think motivated Matthew and Marilla to adopt? And they might give the answer. They wanted companionship, or they felt like they needed help on the farm. Okay, what do you think would have been maybe some underlying reasons, some reasons that they discovered that it was beneficial to have Anne? So then the child might say, well, they realized that they needed some liveliness in the family. So the Socratic method is just a lot of getting them to think beyond just your typical answer. Then you've got demonstration. This is really a great one if you're doing science. If you can explain a process, then you understand what's going on. To give a couple of multiple choice answers might not still have, the child may not still fully understand what it is that they're doing, but if they can demonstrate what they're doing, then they fully understand what the process is. Maybe it's with, say, double-digit multiplication. You can say, well, you do this, but if you can actually demonstrate, maybe it's even for younger siblings. One of the things that we did with our family, I'm kind of jumping around here, sorry about that, but with our science, we would do the test, but then every chapter they had to actually do a demonstration showing what they learned. And so maybe it was dealing with surface tension or some other type of issue like that. So the child would give a demonstration, then we would ask questions. Why did such and such react the way that it did? What was the force that was being exerted? And the child would have to explain back what was really going on. So we were able to assess through that demonstration whether they fully understood what it was that they were supposed to have learned in that particular chapter. So once you've decided how you're going to do your assessing, you need to keep record. Maybe you're just going to use paper and pencil. It depends on the grade level and it depends on what the purpose of the grades is. If you are going to be going on to college, then you might want to keep some type of transcripts. And one of our other board members, Cindy Anastasio, is going to be doing a video on transcripts and college prep. So maybe paper and pencil is not going to work for that. But if you're doing elementary and you just want to kind of get an idea of how they're doing as you're going along, just paper, notebook, pencil, it's great. Use Excel. I used Excel a lot. I happen to love Excel, so that was what I used a lot. They did their assignments. I could put it in. I could easily see what their how they were doing. Did I see a continuation? Did I see, wow, our grades are going down further? We need to go back and maybe do a little bit of review. And so it just kind of gave me an easy way to look at each particular child. There are record books that you can purchase. Go online. You can find numerous different style planning books, record books that you can use. You can go to any public school teaching store and find a record book just like what they might have used in the public school system. Or I would highly recommend that you join HSLEA. You can find them at hslea.org, and they are a group of lawyers that will defend you in your rights to homeschool if there's any kind of issue. So it's definitely worth the money to join HSLEA. I believe it's $89 a year. That's less than $10 a month if you spread it out over the whole year. Worth that expenditure. And you have so many benefits that go with that membership with HSLEA. One of those being they do have transcript services. And depending on what curriculum you choose, you can also get different transcript services with those particular curriculums as well. So when you're just looking at assessment, there's just a lot of so sorry about that. I'm having problems with my batteries dying here. There are a lot of things to consider depending on what it is, what your motivation is with that particular subject, whether that particular child plans on going on to college and you would need that information. So just be thinking about how you want to go about assessing, because the more things that you've already come to the conclusion that this is how you're going to do it, it'll actually make things go a little more smoothly for your school year. So before my battery dies on my laptop, good schooling, and I look forward to seeing you with the next video. Thank you very much.